13 Action News starts now.
Well, the first day of school just a few weeks away, meaning a lot of families out there trying to get those back to school shopping lists checked off.
However, this year may be a little different, with parents cutting back on what they spend. In our big story, we take a look at this year's shopping trends, along with where families say they plan to cut back. We also speak with the local school district about what teachers are spending to make sure students have everything they need. Plus, Ohio's sales tax holiday is right around the corner, helping families save on their back-to-school shopping. How much does it actually cost the state? 13 Action News reporter Josh Krupp is crunching those numbers. Back-to-school spending is our big story today.
Well, school shopping, it's already underway. In fact, a recent survey by the National Retail Federation finds that 2/3 of back-to-school shoppers started earlier this month. This is the earliest that people have started school shopping since the NRF started tracking early shopping back in 2018. The survey also finds that most people started early because they're worried about the tariffs. Despite the head start, 84% of shoppers say they still have about half of the purchases left to buy. That's because they might be waiting for the best deals.
Worries about costs have some families cutting back on how much they spend this school year. According to the 25 Deloitte Back to School survey, parents plan to spend an average of $570 per child, with parents expected to focus on just the essentials. That's down 7% year over year.
We are seeing the continual impact of inflation on the discretionary items being a little bit less affordable when the amount they have to spend on their households and on health is a little bit higher.
So we pose this question to you, asking online what back-to-school shopping categories you plan to cut back on this year. And as of right now, 70%, a little more than 70%, are saying clothing and shoes are the #1 that they're cutting back on, followed by school supplies and technology, which are even, and books and educational items coming in just at about 6%.
Well, it's not just the parents spending cash to start the school year. Educators also footing the bill to build their classrooms. We have Dr. Katie Peters, the Director of Communications at Washington Local Schools, with us. So you've been in education for decades now, so you know the struggle here. How much money do you think, on average, are teachers spending out of their own pockets in their classrooms?
Well, obviously it varies depending on the initiatives that teachers want to employ. And we all know that teachers are the most generous profession that exists because that's just who they are at their core. So it's just really important to recognize that when teachers are creating these enhanced experiences in their classrooms, it's not from a lack of basic needs. Our school districts provide those supplies to teachers. It's because they want to go above and beyond. It's because teachers want to make the experience even better. So to put an amount on it, I couldn't even begin to quantify, but I absolutely know that that is happening in classrooms all over the state and the country.
Sure, and this is a busy time of year. You mentioned the fact that these teachers are going above and beyond. That means that they're not taking the summer off. They're spending time coming up with these ideas and then making that big magic moment when you come in on the first day of school.
Absolutely. And I mean, all summer long, our teachers' brains are working, and how can they improve what they did last year? How can they make it even more impactful? So yes, they're not seeing their students in front of them every day, but they are absolutely including those students and those student minds and those student experiences into their everyday routines, even when they are not in the classroom. We know that is true.
Sure, and we know that parents right now, they're getting the back to school lists. But how often do the supplies maybe run out mid-year? Take us to that midway point when kids come back from Christmas break. Are the teachers in need?
Our classrooms are obviously always going to be a cycle, right? We're using the supplies as we continue on in the school year. So yes, there does come a point in the school year where those supplies become a little bit depleted. Now, our district, most districts are really, really good at supplying teachers with those supplementals, the things that they need to make sure that their students can succeed. We never want a kid to not be able to participate because they're missing the supply that they need. And that's why we oftentimes, as districts, we work really, really hard with our community partners, with our school foundation, and we say, look, this is a need in a classroom that we have to replenish. And luckily, we have such support around us that usually can fill in those gaps.
Good. So you have a lot of community support. If somebody's watching this today, even outside of Washington Local Schools, how can people that, whether or not they have children, help out to give those teachers that one up or give them those supplies that they might need come January?
If you know, especially an elementary teacher, it is a very, very safe assumption that all year long they can use pencils, they can use crayons, they can use things to draw on. So if you're ever out and about and see those supplies and you think you want to contribute, dropping those off at any school office is going to be appreciated. Our teachers are absolutely going to put those resources to use. And as I said, our districts are doing a really good job. We're good at stretching the budget, but we always appreciate our partners and we can never have too many friends.
Well, there you go. A big shout out to all the teachers out there and other educational staff that are already getting ready for the new school year. Thanks, Katie. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And to help ease some of the burden of the cost of back-to-school items, Ohio's sales tax holiday starts this Friday. It has expanded over the last 2 years to where it is today.
Well, state data shows it cost the state far less last year than originally predicted. 13 Action News anchor Josh Krupp is live to break it down. Josh.
And Tina, Tony, last year state officials forecasted a revenue loss of $584 million because of the 10-day sales tax holiday that we had last year. This year it's 14. But it turned out, guys, that it only cost the state about $124 million. The sales tax holiday last year didn't have as large of an impact on revenues as was initially expected. So after seeing the results of last year's 10-day holiday, officials expanded it to 14 days this year. The legislature actually wanted to grow it from 3 to 14 days permanently back in 2023, setting aside $750 million for it. Governor Mike DeWine vetoed that idea, though, saying the expansion was basically too much too fast. Instead, directing the Office of Budget and Management Director and Tax Commissioner to study the idea, then set dates for future tax holidays. Here's what he said back then.
We don't want to get in a situation where the numbers just don't come out at all, and what is supposed to cost $750 million ends up costing who knows what. So just a more prudent approach, I think.
Officials said forecasting the impact on revenues for last year's sales tax holiday was challenging due to the fact that Ohio hasn't had a lengthy sales tax holiday like this before, and no other state has one similar to Ohio's. The state projections for this year's aren't available. At 5:30, we will explain why this year could be the last for this broad expansion. Tony?